Vladimir Putin claims Ukraine's counteroffensive has begun as fighting intensifies in at least 4 areas of the front. 4 days after the destruction of Ukraine's Novokakhovka Dam, water levels are finally beginning to subside in the Kherson region. Ukraine has gone on the counteroffensive in Bakhmut, the western Donetsk and southern Zaporizhia regions. The Washington-based think tank, the Institute for the Study of War, says Kiev forces have continued ground attacks to varying degrees of success in at least 4 areas of the front. In his nightly address on Friday, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said they're focusing their efforts in all directions.
І окремо для наших воїнів, для всіх, хто цими днями в особливо важких боях. Бачимо ваш героїзм. І ми вдячні вам за кожну хвилину вашого життя, життя, яке дійсно є життям України.
Russian President Vladimir Putin, on the other hand, says explicitly that the Ukrainian counteroffensive has started, adding that Kiev has so far failed to achieve its targets. 4 days after the destruction of Ukraine's Novokakhovka Dam, water levels are finally beginning to subside in Kherson. The Ukrainian administration in the region says 35 settlements remain flooded, but the level has decreased half a metre in 1 day. More than 6,000 people have been evacuated from dozens of inundated cities. Residents of flooded areas have been told to sit on rooftops and wait to be rescued from their waterlogged houses, but that's a big risk to take while missile attacks continue across the region. The UN Humanitarian Office in Ukraine has decried the level of suffering by those affected. Its workers have delivered 5 additional truckloads of supplies. The flooding has ruined crops, displaced landmines, caused widespread environmental damage, and set the stage for long-term electricity shortages. One year after his departure from Downing Street, Boris Johnson has stepped down as an MP. The former UK Prime Minister made the decision after learning he is to be sanctioned for misleading Parliament, ending any chance of returning to head a government before next year's general election. In a lengthy resignation statement, Johnson accused opponents of trying to drive him out. He called the committee investigating him a kangaroo court. His career has seen a series of scandals and comebacks, but his freefall began with the Partygate scandal during the COVID-19 pandemic, which forced him out of Downing Street. With this move, the former Prime Minister heaps more political pressure on his successor, Rishi Sunak, as Johnson's local constituency will be up for election. The 58-year-old populist had held major offices, including London Mayor, but also spent periods on the political sidelines before Britain's exit from the EU propelled him to the top. Former US President Donald Trump has been charged on 37 counts for allegedly keeping hundreds of classified documents in his possession after leaving the White House. The 49-page indictment was made public on Friday and accuses Trump of withholding information, hiding documents, conspiracy to obstruct justice and false testimony. The Justice Department Special Counsel says the former president is not above the law.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone. Applying those laws, collecting facts, that's what determines the outcome of an investigation. Nothing more and nothing less.
Donald Trump, who is the current Republican frontrunner for 2024 presidential elections, denies any wrongdoing. The Colombian government and the largest remaining guerrilla group, the National Liberation Army, have signed a national, bilateral and temporary ceasefire. This is the main result of the 3rd cycle of peace talks held in Cuba to resolve a conflict dating back to the 1960s. The ceasefire will take effect in phases and goes into full effect in August and is supposed to last 180 days. It's the longest truce that the Colombian government and the ELN have agreed.